Part 2, The Reckoning Begins, 2,000 words. The Strike. Earth's coordinated assault on Galactic Federation outposts. The message: humanity broadcast its declaration across the galaxy, the Battle of Proxima Gate. A massive space battle where Earth demonstrates its true military power. The galaxy's fear. Alien civilizations realize they've awakened something terrible. The New Order. Earth establishes itself as a force that will never be ignored again. Now I'll write Part 1 for you. Part 1. The Silence Before the Storm, the Execution. The execution chamber aboard the Galactic Federation flagship Eternal Justice was built to inspire fear. Walls of pure crystal reflected light in cold patterns. Rows of observation seats held delegates from 40 different worlds. They had gathered to witness what the Federation Council called justice. In the center of the chamber stood a young woman with dark hair tied back from her face. Her name was Dr. Maya Chen. She was 28 years old. She was human, and in less than 5 minutes she would be dead. Maya's crime was simple according to Federation law. She had discovered something she was not supposed to know. As a quantum physicist working on deep space research, she had stumbled upon evidence that changed everything humans believed about their place in the galaxy. The Federation had been suppressing human advancement for over 200 years. Every failed space mission, every mysterious equipment malfunction, every unexplained delay in human progress had been carefully orchestrated. The Federation feared what humans might become if they were allowed to grow unchecked. Maya had found proof. She had tried to send it back to Earth. She had been caught before the transmission completed. Now she stood in chains made of energy that burned against her wrists. The pain was constant, designed to break the spirit before the body died. But Maya's eyes remained clear. She looked directly at the Federation High Chancellor, a being called Vorath whose species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. His skin shimmered like oil on water. His eyes held no emotion that humans would recognize. Dr. Maya Chen of Earth. Vorath's voice echoed through translation devices. You have been found guilty of espionage against the Galactic Federation. You attempted to share classified information with your primitive homeworld. The sentence is death by molecular dissolution. Do you have final words? Maya smiled. It was not the smile of someone defeated. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. You think killing me will keep Earth ignorant, she said. Her voice carried clearly through the silent chamber. You think we are still the frightened children who first reached beyond our atmosphere? You are wrong. We have been watching. We have been learning. We have been preparing. And when Earth discovers what you have done to me, you will understand what it means to face humanity unchained. The delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some laughed nervously. Others simply stared. Vorath's expression did not change. He raised one long finger and the execution began. Maya's body started to shimmer. She felt herself coming apart at the molecular level. It did not hurt as much as she had feared. Her last thought was of her younger brother back on Earth. She hoped he would understand why she had chosen this path. Then Dr. Maya Chen ceased to exist. The delegates filed out quietly. Official reports would state that justice had been served. A criminal had been punished. Order had been maintained. Within hours, every major world in the Federation received the news. On Earth, the broadcast arrived during the early morning hours. By dawn, every human on the planet knew that one of their own had been executed by alien hands for the crime of seeking truth. Earth's mourning Earth did not scream. Earth did not rage. Earth became very, very quiet. In cities across the planet, people stopped what they were doing. They looked up at the sky as if seeing it for the first time. Children asked their parents questions that had no easy answers. Why did they kill her? What did she discover? Are we safe? The parents held their children close and said nothing because they did not know what to say. Government buildings lowered their flags. The Global Council issued a brief statement expressing sorrow and requesting more information from the Federation. The response was cold and formal. The matter was closed. Earth was advised to move forward. Life should continue as normal. But nothing about Earth's response was normal to those who understood what was really happening. In the streets of Beijing, millions of people gathered in silence. They lit candles. They held photographs of Maya Chen. They did not chant or protest. They simply stood together under the night sky. In New York, people filled the parks and sat in meditation. In Lagos and Mumbai and Sao Paulo, the pattern repeated. Humanity was mourning. But beneath the morning was something else, something the Federation could not detect with their sensors and satellites. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, older than any living human could remember, a facility powered up for the first time in 50 years. Its designation was Station Abyss. The crew inside had been waiting in rotating shifts for 3 generations. They had trained for a moment they hoped would never come. When the signal arrived, encrypted and brief, they knew their waiting was over. The station commander was a woman named Admiral Sarah Okonkwo. She was 60 years old. Her grandmother had helped build this place. Sarah had spent her entire life preparing for this day. "Confirm authentication," she said quietly. Her second officer checked the codes 3 times. "Authentication confirmed, Admiral. The signal is genuine. Dr. Chen is dead. Protocol Nightfall is active." Sarah closed her eyes for a moment. She had met Maya Chen once at a conference 7 years ago. They had talked about the nature of space and time. Maya had been brilliant and kind. Now she was gone. "Sound the awakening," Sarah said. "All stations. All fleets. Earth rises today. Across the planet, in places hidden from every sensor the Federation possessed, similar conversations were taking place. Under the ice of Antarctica, beneath mountains in the Andes and Himalayas, in facilities carved into asteroids in the belt between Mars and Jupiter, the awakening began. Earth had not been idle during its 2 centuries of contact with the Federation. Humanity had learned to hide. Humanity had learned to prepare, and humanity had built an arsenal that would make the galaxy tremble. The hidden preparation project Nightfall began 140 years ago. The Federation had made its first official contact with Earth and made their position clear. Humans were a young species. They would be allowed to exist under Federation supervision. They would follow Federation laws. They would develop only technologies the Federation approved. In public, Earth's governments agreed. In secret, they began to build. The project started small. A research station on the dark side of the moon. A mining operation in the asteroid belt that mined more than minerals. Submarines that went deeper than any ocean charts showed. Each facility was carefully concealed. Each operated under cover of legitimate civilian programs. The Federation watched Earth with mild interest. They saw a species slowly advancing, struggling with their own limitations. They never suspected the truth. The truth was that Earth's best minds had been diverted into Nightfall. Engineers who supposedly worked on climate control were actually designing warship engines. Physicists researching clean energy were secretly developing weapons that bent the laws of physics. Biologists studying deep-sea life were creating life support systems for vessels that could survive anywhere. Every advancement Earth made in public was a shadow of what they were building in darkness. The ships themselves were marvels. The Federation relied on technology that was ancient, but reliable. Their vessels were powerful but predictable. Earth's engineers had taken a different approach. They studied everything the Federation shared with them, and then asked a simple question: what if we did the opposite? Where Federation ships were large and heavily armored, Earth built ships that were smaller but nearly impossible to detect. Where Federation weapons focused on raw power, Earth created weapons that could strike with surgical precision from impossible distances. Where Federation fleets moved in predictable patterns, Earth designed vessels that could appear and vanish like ghosts. The flagship of Earth's hidden fleet was called Prometheus. It hung in space beyond Pluto's orbit, hidden behind a field that bent light around it. The ship was 3 kilometers long. Its hull was made of materials that had never existed in nature. Its crew of 5,000 had been training in secret for 20 years. The captain was a man named Marcus Webb. He was 42 years old. He had never set foot on Earth. He had been born on the moon and raised to serve one purpose. Today that purpose would finally be fulfilled. "All stations report ready, Captain," his executive officer said. Commander Lisa Park was 35 and had been raised on Mars in a colony the Federation did not know existed. "The rest of the fleet is moving into position. We await your order." Marcus looked at the view screen showing the distant stars. Somewhere out there, Maya Chen had died alone and afraid. She had died believing in humanity. She had died trusting that her sacrifice would matter. "Send the message to all fleet commanders," Marcus said. "Today we stop hiding. Today we show the galaxy what humans really are. Today Earth rises." The awakening. The first ships to emerge were the hunters, These were small vessels, barely larger than old Earth fighter jets, but each one carried weapons that could destroy targets light years away. They rose from bases on the moon in perfect formation. 50 of them, then 100, then 500. They formed a defensive sphere around Earth, their sensors sweeping space for any Federation presence. Next came the carriers. These massive ships had been built inside hollowed asteroids. They carried thousands of drones, each one capable of independent action. The carriers moved slowly but with purpose, taking positions at strategic points throughout the solar system. Their launch bays opened and the drones began to deploy, creating a network of eyes and weapons that covered every approach to Earth. Deep under Earth's oceans, the Leviathans woke. These were the largest ships humanity had ever built. Each one was 10 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to destroy a moon. They had been sleeping in trenches deeper than Mount Everest was tall, hidden behind interference fields and false readings. Now they rose through the water, causing tsunamis that were carefully channeled away from populated coasts. They broke the surface and climbed toward space, water streaming from their hulls. In the asteroid belt, mining stations that had operated for a century suddenly transformed. Panels fell away to reveal weapons arrays. Docking bays opened to release warships. Entire asteroids moved, revealing themselves to be mobile battle stations. The Federation had watched these facilities for decades without realizing what they truly were. Now Earth's deception was complete, and beyond Pluto the Ghost Fleet activated. These were the ships that used technologies the Federation would not believe possible. Ships that could fold space and appear anywhere instantly. Ships that could become invisible not just to sensors but to the naked eye. Ships that carried weapons humans hoped they would never need to use. Led by Prometheus, they began moving toward the inner system, ready to defend their homeworld, or to carry war to any world that threatened it. On Earth's surface, people looked up to see streaks of light in the sky. They saw shapes moving among the stars. They saw humanity's true strength revealed at last, and in every heart, grief for Maya Chen transformed into something else. Pride, determination, and the absolute certainty that her death would not be in vain. The awakening was complete. Earth's hidden fleet had risen, and the galaxy would never be the same. The reckoning begins, the strike. The Galactic Federation's border station Sentinel-7 floated in the space between star systems. It was a massive structure, home to 10,000 personnel from 15 different species. Its purpose was simple: monitor the primitive regions of the galaxy and ensure order. For the past 2 centuries, one of those primitive regions had been Earth's solar system. The station commander, a being named Kelrath from the warrior species Draknor, sat in his command center reviewing routine reports. Everything was normal. Everything was always normal. Then every alarm in the station began screaming at once. "Commander," his sensor officer shouted.
"We have multiple contacts appearing on scanners."
"They're coming from the direction of the Sol system." Kelrath's 3 eyes narrowed. "How many contacts?" "I'm counting 50. No, 100. Commander, they keep appearing. These readings don't make sense. Ships are just materializing out of nowhere." Kelrath felt his warrior instincts activate. He had served for 30 years and had seen many threats. But something about this felt different. "Sound battle alert. Raise shields. Identify those vessels immediately." The station's massive defensive shields powered up, creating a bubble of energy around the structure. Weapon systems activated. Fighter craft began launching from the docking bays. But even as Kelrath gave orders, he felt a cold understanding settling over him. The execution. The human female scientist. That had been only 3 days ago. Could these vessels be... "Commander," the communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving a transmission. It's coming from the lead vessel. They're using standard Federation channels." "Put it through," Kelrath ordered. The view screen flickered. A human face appeared. It was a man with gray hair and calm eyes. He wore a uniform that was unlike anything in Federation records. Behind him, Kelrath could see a ship's bridge filled with humans working at advanced stations. The technology visible in the background made Kelrath's blood run cold. It was beyond anything humans were supposed to possess. "This is Captain Marcus Webb of the Earth vessel Prometheus," the human said. His voice was steady and clear. "We are here to deliver a message to the Galactic Federation. You executed Dr. Maya Chen 3 days ago. You killed her for discovering truth. You killed her because you feared what humanity might become. Your fear was justified. Kelrath found his voice. Human vessel, you are in violation of 17 Federation laws. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resist and you will be destroyed. Marcus smiled sadly. No, we won't. The transmission ended. And then hell arrived at Sentinel-7. The human ships moved like nothing Kelrath had ever seen. They didn't accelerate in the normal way. They simply appeared in new positions, blinking across space faster than his sensors could track. Blue beams of light lanced out from them, striking the station's shields with precision. Each beam hit the exact same point. Within seconds, the shields collapsed. Return fire, Kelrath roared. All weapons. The station's massive cannons opened up, filling space with destructive energy, but the human ships weren't there anymore. They had moved again, appearing above and below the station, their formation perfect and coordinated. More blue beams struck the station, but these weren't hitting critical systems. Kelrath realized with shock that the humans were being surgical. They were taking out weapons but avoiding life support and habitat sections. Commander, our weapons are offline. Communications array destroyed.
Main power at 40%.
Kelrath watched in disbelief as his station was systematically dismantled. His fighters engaged the human vessels and were swatted aside like insects. Not destroyed, he noticed, but disabled with precise strikes that left the pilots alive but helpless. In less than 10 minutes, Sentinel-7 was defenseless. The human captain appeared on the view screen again. Your crew is unharmed, Commander Kelrath. Your station will be operational again within a few hours. Though without weapons, you will deliver our message to the Federation Council. Earth is no longer a subject world. We are no longer primitive. We are no longer yours to control. The execution of Dr. Maya Chen was an act of war. We respond in kind. Tell your council this is only the beginning. The human fleet vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, blinking out of existence without a trace. Kelrath sat in his damaged command center, surrounded by sparking consoles and stunned crew members. He had fought in wars. He had faced pirates and rebels. He had never felt the kind of fear that gripped him now. The humans had destroyed his station without killing a single being. That meant they could have killed everyone if they chose. The mercy was somehow more terrifying than slaughter would have been. Send an emergency transmission to High Command, Kelrath said quietly. Tell them the humans have declared war, and tell them we are not prepared for what they have become. The message on Earth. In the underground facility known as Command Prime, the Global Council watched the footage from Sentinel-7 with satisfaction. These were men and women elected from every nation on Earth, entrusted with humanity's greatest secret. For generations, they had prepared for this moment. They had authorized Project Nightfall. They had poured resources into the hidden fleet. They had watched young people volunteer to serve on ships they could never tell their families about. And now they saw their faith justified. The council's leader was a woman named President Elena Vasquez. She was 70 years old, a veteran of Earth's first secret conflicts with Federation scouts. She had lost friends to Federation accidents that were actually assassinations. She had attended Maya Chen's memorial service the day before, standing among thousands of mourners who had no idea that Earth was about to change the galaxy forever. The Federation will respond, she said to the assembled council members. They cannot let this stand. They will send a fleet to intimidate us. We need to be ready for what comes next. The people will need to know the truth, another council member said. We've kept Project Nightfall secret for over a century. But if we're at war, they deserve to understand why. Elena nodded slowly. Then we tell them all of it. Everything the Federation has done to suppress our advancement. Every human who died in their staged accidents. Every discovery they stole from us. And we show them what we built in response. Prepare a global broadcast. Make it on all frequencies, including the ones the Federation uses. Let every world in the galaxy hear what we have to say. 6 hours later, every screen on Earth and every communications device in Federation space received the same transmission. Elena Vasquez appeared wearing not political attire but the uniform of Earth's hidden fleet. Behind her stood Admiral Sarah Okonkwo, Captain Marcus Webb, and dozens of other officers whose names humanity had never known. People of Earth, Elena began, and members of the Galactic Federation. Today I reveal a truth that has been hidden for 140 years. The Federation has not been our ally. They have been our jailers. For 2 centuries, they have worked to keep humanity weak and ignorant. They sabotaged our deep space missions. They assassinated our greatest scientists. They stole our discoveries and claimed them as their own. And 3 days ago they executed Dr. Maya Chen for discovering evidence of their crimes. She paused, letting her words sink in across 1,000 worlds. We did not respond with empty protests. We did not beg for justice from those who would never give it. Instead, we show you what humanity truly is. For 140 years, in secret, we have been building. We have created technologies the Federation cannot match. We have trained soldiers they cannot defeat. We have constructed a fleet they cannot destroy. Today, that fleet emerged from darkness. Today, we struck our first blow against tyranny. And today, we declare that Earth will never again bow to those who would cage us. Behind her, footage played showing Earth ships in action, the hunters in their perfect formations, the leviathans rising from the oceans, the ghost fleet materializing in space, and finally, the assault on Sentinel-7, showing how Earth's forces had dismantled a Federation stronghold without killing anyone. To the people of the Federation, Elena continued, we do not seek to destroy you. We seek only freedom and justice. But we will no longer tolerate interference in our development. We will no longer accept your laws that apply only to us. We will no longer allow you to murder our people without consequence. Earth has risen, and we will never kneel again. The broadcast ended. Across Earth, people watched in stunned silence. Then the silence broke into roars of emotion. Some people cried. Others cheered. Many simply stood in shock, trying to process that their entire understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy had just changed. But beneath all reactions was a swelling wave of pride. They had been told they were primitive. They had been made to feel small. Now they knew the truth. Humanity had never been weak. Humanity had been waiting. In the Federation, the response was different. On 1,000 worlds, aliens who had viewed humans as harmless curiosities suddenly felt fear. The footage showed technology that shouldn't exist. It showed coordination that rivaled the best Federation fleets. It showed a species that had been hiding its true nature for generations. Questions spread like wildfire. If humans could hide this, what else were they capable of? If they could build such a fleet in secret, what other weapons might they possess? The Battle of Proxima Gate. The Federation Council's response came swiftly. They could not allow this insurrection to stand. They assembled a war fleet unlike any seen in centuries. 500 capital ships, each one massive and powerful. 10,000 support vessels. 250,000 soldiers from 30 different species. The fleet was commanded by War Master Threxen, a legendary commander who had never lost a battle. Threxen was a being of pure confidence. He had studied the footage from Sentinel-7 and dismissed it as lucky strikes against an unprepared outpost. Humans might have some clever tricks, but they lacked experience. They had never fought a real war. He would crush them and restore order. His fleet gathered at the Proxima Gate, a massive space station that controlled the main route to Earth's solar system. We advance on Earth, Threxen announced to his commanders. We will surround their world. We will demand surrender. And if they refuse, we will bombard their military installations until they understand their place. But we will be merciful. We will allow their civilians to live. They will see that rebellion brings only suffering. The fleet moved toward the Sol system in overwhelming formation. Hundreds of ships spread across space in a wall of metal and weapons. Threxen sat in his command throne aboard the super dreadnought Infinite Justice, watching the view screens with satisfaction. This would be over quickly. Then the humans appeared. They didn't come from ahead as Threxen expected. They came from all sides at once, materializing out of empty space. The ghost fleet had been waiting, invisible and patient. Prometheus appeared, directly above Infinite Justice, so close that Threxen could see individual windows on its hull. 100 other human ships surrounded the Federation formation, boxing them in. Impossible, Threxen whispered. How did they? War Master, his sensor officer said frantically. These readings are impossible. These ships shouldn't be able to. Move this way. They're using technology that violates fundamental laws of physics. Marcus Webb's face appeared on every screen in the Federation fleet. War Master Threxon, your formation is impressive, your fleet is powerful, but you are surrounded, you are outmatched, and you are being given one chance to withdraw. Turn your fleet around, return to Federation space, or we will show you why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced. Threxon's pride wouldn't allow retreat. All ships open fire, destroy these human vessels. What followed was not a battle. It was a demonstration. The Federation fleet fired with everything they had, filling space with enough destructive energy to crack a planet. But the human ships simply weren't there when the weapons arrived. They phased out of normal space, reappeared behind the Federation vessels, and struck with surgical precision. Blue beams lanced through shields as if they didn't exist. Human. Missiles that bent their flight paths in ways that made Federation point defenses useless. Drones that seemed to think for themselves, coordinating attacks with inhuman precision. Within minutes, 20 Federation capital ships were disabled. Then 50. Then 100. Not destroyed. Not even significantly damaged. Just stopped. Their engines offline. Their weapons neutralized. Their crews unharmed but helpless. Threxon watched in growing horror as his overwhelming fleet was systematically taken apart. "How is this possible?" he said to no one in particular. "We have technology developed over 10,000 years. How can they?" "Because we had to be better," Marcus Webb's voice said. Threxon realized the human captain had an open channel to his bridge. "You've been the dominant power for so long you forgot how to innovate. You forgot what it means to face extinction. We never forgot. Every generation of humans grew up knowing we were one mistake away from annihilation. So we became the best. We became the smartest. We became unkillable. This is what happens when you back humanity into a corner. We don't break, we transcend." Infinite justice shuddered as human weapons disabled its main reactor. The lights flickered. Threxon felt his mighty vessel go dark around him. On the view screen, he watched as the human fleet continued its perfect assault. Not one Federation ship was destroyed, but all of them were being systematically neutralized. The mercy was deliberate. The humans wanted the Federation to understand. This isn't about slaughter. This is about a message. "I surrender," Threxon said quietly. "Stop, please. I surrender." The human attack ceased immediately. The Federation fleet drifted in space, powerless and defeated. Not a single being had died, but the psychological impact was total. The greatest war fleet assembled in generations had been crushed without the humans even trying to kill anyone. The galaxy's fear news of the Battle of Proxima Gate spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every species, every world, every space station heard the same impossible story. The humans had defeated a Federation war fleet without suffering a single casualty. The footage was broadcast on every channel, showing Federation super dreadnoughts floating helpless while small human vessels darted between them like predators playing with prey. On the Federation homeworld of Centralis, the High Council met in emergency session. High Chancellor Vorath, who had ordered Maya Chen's execution, stood before the assembled delegates looking older than his 1,000 years. He had believed humans were controllable. He had believed their protestations of peaceful intentions were genuine weakness. He had been catastrophically wrong. "They have been deceiving us for over a century," Vorath said to the silent chamber. "While we watched them with mild amusement, they were building an arsenal beyond our comprehension. While we congratulated ourselves on keeping them primitive, they were developing technologies we cannot explain. And now they have demonstrated power that threatens our entire civilization." A delegate from the Zarathi species stood. "Then we must destroy Earth immediately, launch everything we have, wipe them out before they grow stronger." "With what?" another delegate asked bitterly. "Our greatest fleet was disabled in minutes. Our most experienced commander surrendered without destroying a single human vessel. If we attack Earth directly, what do you think they will do? They showed mercy at Proxima Gate. Will they show mercy if we threaten their homeworld? Or will we discover what their weapons can actually do when they stop holding back?" The chamber fell silent. Every being present understood the truth. The galaxy's power structure had just changed forever. For 10,000 years, the Federation had been supreme. They had dictated terms to younger species. They had controlled the development of entire civilizations. And now a species they had dismissed as primitive had revealed itself to be their equal or superior. "We cannot win a war with Earth," Vorath finally admitted. "Not now. Perhaps not ever. They have surpassed us while we were sleeping. Our only option is negotiation." "Negotiation?" another delegate said incredulously. "They attacked our stations. They defeated our fleet, and you want to negotiate?" "Yes," Vorath said heavily. "Because the alternative is extinction. Ours or theirs. And I'm no longer certain which it would be." On Earth, celebrations continued for days. People danced in the streets. They cheered their hidden heroes who had served in secret for so long. But in Command Prime, the leaders knew the war wasn't over. It had barely begun. "They'll try diplomacy next," Admiral Okonkwo said. "They'll offer us recognition, equal status in the Federation. They'll try to make us partners instead of subjects." President Vasquez nodded. "And we'll accept. But on our terms. The Federation must acknowledge what they did to Dr. Chen. They must acknowledge all their crimes against humanity. They must pay reparations. And they must understand that Earth will never again allow others to dictate our fate." "What about the other species?" Captain Webb asked. "The ones the Federation has been suppressing just like they suppressed us?" Elena smiled. "We offer them the same choice we took. Rise up, build in secret if you must, but rise. The Federation's age of dominance is ending. A new age begins now. An age where no species is held back by those who fear competition. An age where merit matters more than age. An age where humanity shows the galaxy what we truly are. Not warriors, not conquerors, but liberators." The New Order 3, months after the Battle of Proxima Gate, representatives from Earth and the Federation met on neutral ground. A space station equidistant between their territories was chosen. The negotiations lasted for weeks. The Federation tried to minimize their crimes. Earth presented evidence of 2 centuries of sabotage, assassination, and suppression. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. The final treaty was signed on the anniversary of Maya Chen's execution. The Federation formally acknowledged their crimes. They paid reparations to families of humans who had died in their accidents. They opened their technologies to Earth and to any other species who requested them. And most importantly, they recognized Earth as a sovereign power with the right to develop without interference. But the treaty was not the end. It was just the beginning. Inspired by Earth's example, 17 other species revealed their own secret development programs. The Kethrin had been building hidden colonies in deep space. The Vorlani had been developing biological technologies the Federation had banned. The Helixians had been breeding warriors in secret, preparing for the day they could throw off Federation control. The galaxy was changing. The Federation, which had ruled through fear and control, now ruled through consensus or not at all. Species that had been suppressed for thousands of years were suddenly free to pursue their own destinies. And at the center of this transformation was Earth. The species that had been dismissed as primitive had become the catalyst for galactic revolution. On Earth, a memorial was built for Dr. Maya Chen. It stood in Geneva, where the first contact with the Federation had occurred 2 centuries earlier. The memorial was simple, a statue of Maya looking up at the stars with hope in her eyes. At the base were engraved her final words, "When Earth awakens, you will understand." President Vasquez stood at the memorial's dedication ceremony, surrounded by representatives from 50 worlds. Some were former Federation members who had followed Earth's example. Others were independent species who had hidden in the dark corners of the galaxy, afraid to reveal themselves. All of them looked to Earth now, not as masters, but as the species that had shown them freedom was possible. Maya Chen died believing in humanity, Elena said to the assembled crowd. She died believing we were better than the Federation claimed. She died believing we would rise. She was right. But this memorial is not just for her. It is for every being who has been told they are lesser, every species that has been held back, every dream that has been crushed by those who fear change. Maya's death was the spark, but the fire it lit will burn across the galaxy, not as destruction but as illumination. Let every species see what we have shown them. That determination matters more than age. That innovation matters more than tradition. That courage matters more than power. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not weapons, not conquest, but hope, the crowd cheered. Not just humans, but aliens of every shape and size. They cheered because a young woman's sacrifice had changed everything. They cheered because Earth had risen. And they cheered because they knew the galaxy would never be the same. Aboard Prometheus, Captain Marcus Webb looked at a photograph of Maya Chen that every Earth ship carried now. She had become a symbol, a martyr, a legend, but Marcus had met her once briefly at a conference. He remembered her laugh. He remembered how she had talked about the stars with wonder in her eyes. She had been real, she had been human, and she had died alone and afraid. "We rose for you," Marcus said quietly to the photograph. "We showed them what humanity really is. I hope, wherever you are, you know that your death mattered, that you changed everything, that you freed not just us but 1,000 worlds. Rest well, Dr. Chen. Earth has awakened, and we will never sleep again." The stars shined above him, infinite and beautiful, and somewhere among them, Marcus knew other species were looking up with the same hope Maya had once felt. The galaxy was vast. The galaxy was dangerous. But now, for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy was also free. Earth had risen. And the age of human ascendancy had begun, the end.